Good evening, I'm Ebony Brandon. Today is Wednesday, 3rd January 2018. This is the SKN News Now Evening Edition. In the headlines tonight, nationally, Honorable Joseph Parry has confirmed that he will step down as leader of the Nevis Reformation Party. Internationally, North and South Korea talks have resumed. And in sport, Australian Olympic cyclist Carolyn Buchanan has been seriously injured in a car crash. We have the details of these stories, the weather and Carib update, all ahead in the SKN News Now Evening Edition. Any questions about the future of the Nevis Reformation Party have been answered, as leader Honorable Joseph Parry has confirmed he will be stepping down. The announcement was made in his New Year's address and follows his party's thrashing by the Concerned Citizens Movement in the December 18, 2017 Nevis Island Assembly elections. According to Mr. Parry, the longest-serving member of the NIA having won his seat last month, his move at this time is intended to ensure that the NRP remains a strong and organized institution.
My intention over the next few weeks is to step down as leader of the Nevis Reformation Party. It is important that I give that party the opportunity to organize the transition period so that we can have a smooth movement from the present situation to one that will strengthen the party for the future.
He indicated that he will make a more detailed statement as to his intentions shortly, and added that he is confident that there are persons both in the party and across the island of Nevis who will see to it that the NRP remains a thriving organization.
And I'm satisfied by the attempts that have been made to reach me and to speak to me, that we have a cadre of young persons who are interested in taking the flag, in taking the baton forward. I have served for 30 years. I have served for 38 years in the public service without counting my teaching experience. It is time now for me to refresh myself and move in another direction and pass the baton on. But I can assure you, the people of Nevis, and all those young people, I'll be there to advise and to assist in any way that I can.
Mr. Parry added while the time has come for him to leave, he is pleased with the legacy he leaves behind.
I myself have always embraced humility, and I have understood that I'm a servant of the people, and when the time comes to move aside, I must move aside with a smile. I am pleased with my 30 years in the public interest and my 30 years in public service. I can walk away when the time comes with a smile on my face and with the full knowledge that my character and my integrity is fully maintained.
This announcement by Mr. Parry is sure to have sparked off the interest of persons within the party who may have their eyes set on taking over the soon-to-be vacant spot of party leader. Among the likeliest to make a bid for the NRP's top spot are the NRP's deputy leaders, federal parliamentarian Honorable Patrice Nisbet and St. Paul District 1 candidate Roberto Hector. The NRP party organizer and former deputy premier Hensley Daniel may also choose to enter the fray. On a related note, Mr. Parry has offered congratulations to the CCM and new Premier Honorable Mark Brantley on their win. In doing so, the outgoing NRP leader said his sole desire is to see Nevis advance, whomever this positive move forward may take place under.
I want to see that this country move forward, not just in terms of the development of the young people, but in terms of true development. I have said before, and I'm saying again, we cannot continue to depend on St. Kitts to provide money for us for current expenses or even for long-term investment expenses. We need to have our own investment program And I hope in the new year that the new government will come with an investment program that will take this country, this island, from a position of dependency to a position of economic independence. I can assure you that the Nevis Reformation Party will not stand in the way of development in any way. But certainly it is our business and our responsibility to ensure that if anything is wrong, that we point it out. And also that we suggest alternatives that we would have pursued and that we think should be pursued in the interest of the country. I want to say that we must understand that all of us live in this island. If it goes in the right direction, we all benefit. If it goes in the wrong direction, we all become losers. I hope that is clear to all of us. I want to congratulate the Concerned Citizens Movement and Mr. Brantley for their victory. And I want to say to him, be humble in victory.
Despite this, Mr. Parry has hinted that a legal challenge of the very close election result in District 1, which was contested by Roberto Hector and winner Honorable Spencer Brand, is likely to take place.
I spoke to Mr. Hector only a few minutes ago, and he has assured me that he will challenge the seat in Charlestown because he's dissatisfied with the results. He feels, and the party feel, that there were a number of irregularities committed both in the electoral office and elsewhere to warrant his objecting and going to court on this very serious matter. I do hope the supporters of the Nevis Reformation Party and the public as a whole will support this move, because it is very important that we have free and fair elections every time. That is what our democratic process is about.
Meanwhile, federal opposition leader Right Honorable Dr. Denzel Douglas has recognized the contributions of Honorable Joseph Parry over a career of service spanning more than 4 decades, 30 of which were in politics. In his New Year's address to the nation, Dr. Douglas highlighted Mr. Parry's commitment to the people of Nevis and his unwavering principles both personally and politically. Dr. Douglas also expressed thanks to Mr. Parry for his sterling service and contributions, not just to Nevis, but for the entire Federation. Also in his New Year's address, Dr. Douglas recognized the local and federal contributions of former Premier of Nevis, Honorable Vance Amory, who also recently gave up the reins of the CCM, a party he led since its founding in 1983. Dr. Douglas used the opportunity as well to extend congratulations to Premier Honorable Mark Brantley and the CCM on their December 2017 election win. In other news, the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force rung in 2018 this morning with New Year celebration services on both St. Kitts and Nevis. During the Nevis leg of the ceremony, which was held at the Charlestown Police Station, Commissioner of Police Ian Quealy took time to extend gratitude to the officers who served the island, as according to him, 2017 was particularly trying.
I want to express my heartfelt thanks to the officers and men of the Division of Nevis, Division C, for basically continuing to carry the mantle. This year, or I should say last year, has really tested the limits of this police force and of our strength. And I can say that you, the members of Division C, would have played your part in keeping the faith. We faced similar challenges all over the world, but we would have done our very best. In our fight against crime and violence, we have experienced some setbacks, and we have taken the painful blows from the public time and time again. And in the process, we have delivered a professional service to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And for last year, we have had to police the country in very trying times. Very often we had to stop rest days, bring you back from leave, put on new operations just to ensure that we kept the crime situation under control. For 2018, I do not want us to be discouraged. I want us to continue in that same vein. And we want to, more than anything, work together as a team, because it's as a team that we're going to achieve results.
While the commissioner conceded that there had been bumps in the road in 2017, he continued that some gains had been made in crime-fighting efforts, particularly in respect of homicide. However, he added that crime detection is still an area requiring improvement.
In keeping with your crime statistics that were revealed by Divisional Commander C, that the Federation has fared well. We did make some progress in terms of our crime-fighting ability, and we did realize about a 26% decrease in homicides, which I think is very commendable. When we look at all our other Caribbean states, most of them, if not all, would have had an increase in the homicide rates. So it's something that is plaguing us, and the strategies of which you form part have paid some dividend. But more importantly, I think we have to look at the detection rate in homicides. I've been one who have always said catching people is part of the detection is part of the prevention. And if people know that they're likely to be caught, that operates within their psyche. And so, while in 2016 we had a detection rate of 19% in homicides, at the end of 2017 our detection rate was 39%.
Addressing some of the internal bumps which hindered the work of the police in 2017, Commissioner Quealy outlined them very bluntly.
There were a few things that I must make mention of. Sickness. The organization continued to be plagued by, in my mind, the sickness that is unbecoming. We have lost thousands of man-hours due to sickness. And that has affected efficiency and productivity, and that is something that this High Command intend to get better at this year in enforcing policies as it relates to sickness. So that, and I say it all the time, none of us can go into the shop and buy some sickness over the counter. So I can't walk in and say, sell me $200 worth of sickness. We do not know when we're going to get sick or what we're going to be sick for. But there are reasons that we have to indicate to us that some of you report sick very willy-nilly. And the police force is a force, an organization for able-bodied persons, and as such, if we cannot do it, we need to be able to let who can do it, do it. Secondly, the issue of discipline. We want for this year to improve on the disciplinary issues that we would have had. Far too often, and I want to mention because you would realize in the December Christmas message, I attached a force order specifically dealing with saluting. Some of you are not paying compliments to senior officers. That is a disciplinary offense. You are to pay compliments when you see senior officers. And that starts at a very high level.
St. Kitts and Nevis closed out 2017 with a total of 23 homicides, 9 of which occurred on Nevis. In that same year, a total of 47 illegal firearms were taken off the streets, along with hundreds of rounds of illegal ammunition. While the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union took a hard blow following the devastation caused by Hurricanes Irma and Maria in several member states, Governor Timothy Antwine is optimistic for the future and satisfied with the overall performance of the union in 2017. In his final public statement of 2017, Governor Antwine noted that record growth throughout the union had been brought to an abrupt halt as a result of the devastating impact of the two major storms. 5 ECCU member states were impacted by the hurricanes, while 3 took direct hits. Prior to this, the ECCU was on track to record its fastest growth in 10 years. Despite the storms, Antwine said 2017 did have its successes, with the rollout of the 2017-2021 strategic plan titled Transforming the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union Together and the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank's return to profitability. As far as the 2017-2021 strategic plan, which focuses on the union's economic stability, is concerned, it seeks to achieve 5 goals: maintaining a strong and stable EC dollar, ensuring a strong, diversified, and resilient financial sector, being the advisor of choice to participating governments in pursuit of fiscal and debt sustainability, actively promoting the economic development of member territories, and enhancing organizational effectiveness to ensure responsiveness and service excellence. Former Miss World turned Jamaican politician Honorable Lisa Hanna will be the guest speaker at Right Honorable Dr. Denzel Douglas's 18th New Year's Gala. At age 18 in 1993, Hanna was crowned Miss World. She's also a former Miss World Caribbean. After leaving pageantry, Hanna joined the People's National Party in Jamaica and successfully ran for office, becoming Jamaica's Minister of Youth and Culture from 2012 to 2016. Now in opposition, Hanna has retained her seat and continues to serve as parliamentary representative for St. Anne South East. She holds an undergraduate degree in media and communication and a graduate degree in communication, both from the University of the West Indies. The annual formal gala, hosted by St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party's leader, will take place at 6:30 in the evening this Friday at the St. Kitts Marriott Resort. And that item brings us to the end of this evening's national developments. Still to come in this evening's news presentation, sport, the weather, and today's international developments. North Korea has reopened communication inside the demilitarized zone with South Korea for the first time in almost 2 years. This took place before talks between the two governments scheduled for Tuesday. On Monday, North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un made a rare conciliatory offer of talks during his New Year address. Bernard Smith reports.
This is the only official means of communication between North Korea and South Korea, but for almost 2 years, the North Koreans have refused to answer the phone, until Wednesday, when they placed a call to the south.
Kim Jong-un has given an order to reopen the hotline between the North and the South to contact South Korea regarding a right time for talks and sending a delegation to the Pyeongchang Winter Olympics.
The decision was welcomed in Seoul a day after the government there proposed high-level talks amid a tense standoff over North Korea's missile and nuclear programs. But the US government wasn't impressed.
We won't take any of the talk seriously if they don't do something to ban all nuclear weapons in North Korea. We consider this to be a very reckless regime. We don't think we need a Band-Aid, and we don't think we need to smile and take a picture. We think that we need to have them stop nuclear weapons, and they need to stop it now.
In his New Year's speech, Kim Jong-un warned the US he had a nuclear button on his desk. That prompted Donald Trump to continue his apparent mockery of a president he's nicknamed Little Rocket Man. In a tweet, the US president wrote, "I too have a nuclear button, but it's a much bigger and more powerful one than his, and my button works." North Korea has been punished with unprecedented sanctions by the UN over its weapons programs. The US has warned of more measures if Pyongyang conducts another missile test.
Some remote regions in Colombia are finally receiving health care. The peace deal with leftist FARC rebels is facilitating the delivery of medical services to areas that were previously hard to reach. Recently, journalists traveled with a group of doctors who've enlisted in the Marines Reserves to see progress. Alessandro Rampietti has the story.
Volunteer doctors setting sail. Their mission is to win support from an Imbera indigenous community long afflicted by Colombia's conflict. A peace deal signed with FARC rebels last year means it's now easier and safer for the Navy to bring assistance to poor, remote areas through civic military brigades.
People here are less hostile to military forces now that they have increased their hold and presence. They are starting to look up to the Colombian state, and I'm proud we are able to contribute to peace.
It is a classic hearts and minds campaign in a territory where people's allegiances have long been wobbly, and where state presence has been synonymous with military force.
The government's clear guidelines are to take advantage of the fact that these armed actors are not interfering in these territories anymore. So the state seeks to enter with all its capacity and avoid further institutional gaps that might be filled by new criminal groups.
But in villages like Papayo, those gaps remain wide. Filling them will require time and resources.
Our health post is not enough for all the villages on the river, and they attend only people with health cards. We'd love if the brigades could come twice a year.
Most kids here have rarely seen a toothbrush, let alone a dentist. It takes 3 to hold this patient down while he has his tooth pulled out. His mother says bringing him to a doctor 10 hours downriver was never an option. In spite of the government efforts to improve the delivery of health services, major logistical problems persist. Last year, 16% of Colombia's rural population had to forgo medical care because of distances to services. Over the course of the day, hundreds are taken care of. 22-year-old student Stephanie Arce says it's worth giving up her weekends.
I just like how I feel when people thank me, when I can contribute to those without the opportunity or the money to get to a doctor.
Civil military brigades will hardly be a long-time fix for chronically poor health care, but may buy the state some time as it tries to pacify these restless areas for good.
Still to come in this evening's news presentation, sport, the weather and Carib update. In sport this evening, two-time Olympian and world cycling champion Carolyn Buchanan has suffered serious injuries in a car accident in her native Australia. Buchanan, 27 years old, posted an image on Instagram of herself in hospital with a bloodied face and wearing a neck brace. She wrote that she'd broken her nose, sternum, and had a collapsed lung. Local media reported the accident involved a single vehicle and happened in New South Wales, but further details were not yet clear. She wished her followers Happy New Year and said off-season just got a little more tough in a post that has drawn thousands of comments. Buchanan has 3-time BMX and 5 mountain bike world titles and competed in the 2012 and 2016 Olympics. Most recently, she took out the mountain bike 4-cross world title in August and was named Canberra's Female Athlete of the Year in November. And that wraps up our look at sport this evening. Now for a look at today's weather report. Across St. Kitts and Nevis, moisture and instability associated with a weak surface trough will move into the area. This, coupled with light winds and earlier heating during the day, will significantly increase the chances of shower activity over and around the islands tonight. Scattered showers are expected this evening, some of which could be moderate to locally heavy at times. Seas are moderate to locally rough with swells of 1.5 to 2.1 meters or 5 to 7 feet. Small craft operators and sea bathers should continue to exercise caution. Winds are east-southeasterly at 9 to 16 miles per hour, becoming lighter and variable at times. Sea level pressure is 1,015 millibars or 29.97 inches. The sun will rise tomorrow at 6:41 a.m. That look at the weather brings us to the end of this evening's news presentation. We conclude with a recap of today's top stories. Nationally, Honorable Joseph Parry has confirmed that he will step down as leader of the Nevis Reformation Party. Internationally, North and South Korea talks have resumed. And in sport, Australian Olympic cyclist Carolyn Buchanan has been seriously injured in a car crash. I've been your presenter this evening, Ebony Brandon. Thank you so much for tuning in. Still to come, this evening, Carib Update, followed by DJ Yardi. Goodbye.